Welcome to LFC Transfer Hub. Arne Slot must make decision on Mohamed Salah as Liverpool change considered. Second news is Marc Guehi was never Liverpool's priority as transfer problems laid bare for Fsg. Third news is Sadio Mane at complete odds with Senegal coach over AFCON chaos. Now details. Liverpool's unbeaten streak continued, albeit with little celebration, following a frustrating 1-1 Premier League draw against Burnley at Anfield on Saturday. The Reds have now dodged defeat in 12 matches across all competitions, but their lead over their closest rival for fourth spot in the Premier League, Manchester United, is down to just 1 point. Everton is 10th in the table, but only 4 points behind Liverpool. Arne Slot's players will aim to edge closer to securing a direct spot in the Champions League last 16 when they face Marseille on Wednesday. In this piece, Liverpool.com will preview potential changes that Slot might consider for the upcoming European match. Even a draw would put Liverpool in a favourable position to automatically qualify for the knockout stages before the team's final group stage match against Qarabag at home next Wednesday. While Slot fielded a strong starting side against Burnley, there's room for some squad rotation. Alisson Becker is likely to retain his spot as the first-choice goalkeeper, ahead of Georgi Mamardashvili and Freddie Woodman. The left-back position isn't as straightforward, with Andy Robertson having started 4 out of 6 Champions League games, all victories, despite seemingly falling behind Milos Kerkez in the Premier League hierarchy. With Connor Bradley sidelined for the season, Jeremy Frimpong remains the only recognised right-back option, as Calvin Ramsey is ineligible for the competition. Joe Gomez and Dominic Szoboszlai could be called upon should the Dutchman need a breather. Gomez also serves as the primary alternative at centre-back after the team's first-choice pair, Ibrahima Konate and Virgil van Dijk, although Wataru Endo is now fit to play. Youngster Welity Lucky was among the substitutes at Inter Milan last month. Achieving the perfect midfield balance has been a challenge for Slot this season, but he has all options open for the journey to France and may consider adjusting the formation accordingly, having utilised a diamond midfield and 2 number 10s over the past 6 weeks. If Liverpool stick with their usual 4-2-3-1, Alexis Mac Allister will be breathing down Curtis Jones' neck to start alongside Ryan Gravenberch at the base of the midfield, with Endo and Szoboszlai also in contention. Szoboszlai returned to the number 10 role against Burnley, but will be competing with Florian Wirtz for the position, although the German international can be deployed elsewhere. Teenager Trey Nyoni hasn't made an appearance in the Champions League this season, but he was on the bench for the last 2 matches. Salah's return. A lot hinges on whether Mohamed Salah will be immediately reinstated into the squad following his Africa Cup of Nations duty, given Liverpool's limited options on the right wing. Wirtz shone in the role against Burnley, but has more often been seen on the left wing or as the number 10, while Szoboszlai recently started on the right. Regardless, Salah hadn't made the starting lineup in any of the 5 games prior to his departure. Cody Gakpo is the leading choice on the left, although Rio Ngumoha has had significant game time there in the last 2 matches. With Alexander Isak sidelined for several months, Hugo Ekitike is the primary central striker, with Gakpo and Wirtz also having played in various ways recently. Federico Chiesa is likely to be an option off the bench across the front 3. Second news is Marc Guehi was never Liverpool's priority, as transfer problems laid bare for Fsg. Liverpool's decision not to sign Marc Guehi has caused ruptures among the club's supporters. There is a sense of exasperation that the Reds have allowed a player of such high calibre to slip through their grasp, particularly so when it's a rival that is set to snare Guehi. That feeling has been dialed up a notch, given the Crystal Palace captain was just hours away from being a Liverpool player last summer, and the club could have pushed ahead to secure his signing earlier in the window. But in July, August and January, the Reds waited, biding their time and hoping no one would gazump them. Considering Guehi had attracted interest from Europe's elite clubs, perhaps that thought was always naive. Guehi is not the first player Liverpool has missed out on due to Fsg's robust transfer processes. Those running the club will simply not pay what they consider to be over the odds for any player. That's particularly pertinent at present with Liverpool down to just 6 fit defenders. To many, Guehi felt like the perfect solution, an elite centre-back who would add depth and perhaps provide the perfect long-term replacement for Ibrahima Konate. Would it even have reinvigorated the team after such a woeful start to the campaign? Instead, it leaves Arne Slot with a dearth of options. Had Liverpool completed the signing of Guehi in September, it would have gone into the season with 9 defenders, Now it is operating with a third of those numbers. However, despite the frustration that has arisen since losing out on Guehi, it should be remembered that the imminent Manchester City signing was not Liverpool's primary target last summer. Giovanni Leoni was identified as a more long-term, cost-effective profile, and his signing was announced in mid-August. His subsequent long-term knee injury is sheer misfortune. While the Reds moved swiftly to conclude expensive deals for Jeremy Frimpong, Florian Wirtz, Milos Kerkez and Hugo Ekitike, Guehi was never seen as an essential signing. Indeed, he does not fit the criteria Liverpool typically looks for at the heart of defence. Normally, the Reds prioritise those aged 21 and younger. Longevity is key. Joe Gomez is currently in his 11th season at Liverpool. It has been 8 years since Virgil van Dijk signed from Southampton, while Konate will reach a half-decade at Anfield by the end of the campaign. Guehi was seen as a unique market opportunity, an England international who was available at a relatively low price, given his expiring contract. While supporters may scoff at the decision not to match City's exorbitant offer, there is also the dilemma of how Slot would have lined up had Guehi arrived this month. Van Dijk and Konate are the Reds' established centre-back pairing, unless Slot pivoted to a back three, where exactly does Guehi fit in? That may matter little to disgruntled supporters, though. For some, this is another example of how Fsg'S stringent recruitment model will always make it difficult for Liverpool to compete with the Premier League's elite. Should the Reds sustain any more injuries at the back in the coming months, that sense will only be heightened. Third news is Sadio Mane at complete odds with Senegal coach over Afcon chaos. Former Liverpool star Sadio Mane went against Senegal national team head coach Pape Thiaw during a chaotic Africa Cup of Nations final, after the team marched off the field following a penalty dispute. Senegal won its second Afcon title on Sunday after beating host nation Morocco 1-0 in the final, but the game may go down as one of the most dramatic championship clashes in soccer history. Senegal stormed off the field after Morocco was awarded a last-minute penalty and threatened to boycott the game. The team returned after Mane demanded they see out the game, and Morocco star Brahim Diaz missed the spot kick after attempting a woeful Panenka. Senegal then won in extra time, but Mane revealed that after the game, even the head coach wanted to withdraw from the competition. The game was headed to extra time with no goals in regulation, until Senegal scored in the final moments. Crystal Palace star Ismaila Sarr thought he had scored the winner, only for his goal to be ruled out and Morocco to be later awarded a penalty. After Sarr's goal was disallowed, referee Jean-Jacques Ndala reviewed a penalty claim on the VAR monitor. The referee believed that Senegal defender El Hadji Malick Diouf fouled Brahim Diaz and awarded a penalty kick. Thiaw was furious and walked off the field with the Senegal players. Mane then convinced them to return, and later claimed that he needed to persuade Thiaw, not just his teammates. "Yes, it was I who convinced the team to return to the field," Mane said after the game. "The players and the coach had decided to withdraw, and I didn't understand that decision, but finally, I told everyone to return immediately and to play no matter the cost." The decision proved successful as Diaz missed his penalty, and midfielder Pape Gueye scored the winning goal for Senegal in extra time. Senegal won its second Afcon title, both with Mane in the squad, while Morocco missed the chance to win the trophy for the first time since 1976. The chaos didn't stop after the game, as Thiaw clashed with Morocco head coach Walid Regragui on the field. Then, Thiaw's post-game press conference was cancelled. As Thiaw entered the press conference room, he was applauded by Senegal journalists but booed by Moroccan representatives. Reporters and media members then began arguing, and Thiaw walked out. The press conference was officially cancelled minutes later. Ironically, Thiaw spoke about the tournament's global image before the final. "The stakes in football shouldn't lead us to do certain things. This Sunday should belong to all of Africa," Thiaw told ESPN on Saturday. "This was a competition that no one used to watch, but now it has an elevated status. We shouldn't destroy that." While the chaos made for compelling viewing, it did not go as Afcon organizers intended.